Welcome to second grade ELA Tidbits. You can access the full grade 2 Tidbits deck using the bit.ly G2 Tidbits 25. The slides include my detailed notes and links to all the resources discussed. Today we're going to break down modules for the week of October 13th. Our roadmap shows the journey of the standards throughout the week. The week begins with Unit 3, Lesson 3. Like in the previous week, students are exploring similarities and differences between their school and schools in off-to-class sections. Students practiced RI.2.1 and RI.2.7 during the focused read-aloud and shared research. They also practiced W.2.5. Starting back with Lesson 1 and continuing into this week, students have many opportunities to practice SL.2.1a, B, and C. SL.2.1 is a vehicle standard. It enables access to content at various cognitive levels. All of this work prepares students for their collaborative conversation unit assessment on Wednesday of this week, and to write an informational piece for their performance task down the road. The chart shows the journey of the standards throughout the year. Today, we're going to unpack SL.2.1, since students will be assessed on this standard during the end of unit assessment. In the next tidbit, we will take another look at W.2.2 in preparation for the performance task. SL.2.1 asks students to participate in collaborative conversations with diverse partners. This standard includes 3 essential skills: follow agreed-upon rules for discussion, build on others' talk in conversations by linking their comments, ask for clarification and further explanation as needed. The natural DOK of SL.2.1 is dependent on the topic and the student responses. This standard doesn't have a fixed DOK. The standard itself describes the process skills for collaboration, but the cognitive demand will vary based on what students are discussing. Instead of looking at essential questions for SL.2.1, we're going to look at the 4 goals of conversation cues. Conversation cues are questions teachers can ask students to promote productive and equitable conversation based on 4 goals. Goal 1, encourage all students to talk and be understood. Goal 2, listen carefully to one another and seek to understand. Goal 3, deepen thinking. And Goal 4, think with others to expand the conversation. You've probably seen conversation cues mentioned in your lessons, and you may already be using them. That's great. You can find conversation cues poster linked here in my slides. Let's take a look at teacher and student actions for SL.2.1. Participate in collaborative conversation. The aligned learning target is I can respond to others' ideas while participating in a collaborative conversation about similarities in the schools we've researched. For ongoing assessment, the lesson notes using the speaking and listening checklist to monitor progress. We're going to come back to this in a minute when we talk more about assessing the standard. In work time C of Lesson 3, the teacher facilitates the collaborative conversation protocol about the similarities of doorstep school and our school. The teacher's role in this part of the lesson is pretty straightforward. We need to orient students to the materials, review the protocol, pose the launch question, then stand back and monitor with our SL.2.1 checklist and prompt with conversation cues only when we're needed. The speaking and listening checklists are used for informal academic monitoring as you listen to student conversations. The end Unit 3 assessment rubric assesses students' progress of SL.2.1 as they have a collaborative conversation about the similarities and differences from their research school to their school. For me, it would be easy to mistakenly assess the content of students' conversations on reading standards like RI.2.1 and RI.2.7. I can picture myself listening to student conversations and thinking, is that a key detail from the text that describes a who or a what? But it's important to remember that we're assessing the process of the conversation, not its content. So instead of asking ourselves, did Amanda just reference an image from the text? I need to be asking, did Amanda take turns speaking? Did she listen to others attentively? Did she respond to classmates' ideas? Did she ask questions or clarify when needed? All of these look-fors come from the Level 3 Mastery section of your rubric. Because the collaborative conversation protocol in this lesson will have been repeated over several lessons, it should be easy to anticipate the just-in-time supports students will need as they approach the assessment. If students have difficulty knowing when it is their turn to speak or respond, invite the group to use a talking stick or other object that can be passed to anyone who has a response when the previous speaker is finished speaking. If students have difficulty listening to one another carefully, then you can interject with a goal to conversation cue, like, who can repeat what Malcolm just said? Thank you for joining me for this week's Tidbits. See you back next week.